Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to walk you guys through a few steps regarding how to view the clashes and how we can better organize and probably, if you have some concerns regarding how to resolve some clashes, I will just talk about it since this requires a lot of field experience, but I will try my best. So now let's first take a look at one clash. For example, if we want to look at clash 1, and also I would like to highlight all clashes, and also I would like to make this as a manual. So in that case, even if I accidentally click add the clashes, it would not be highlight. It wouldn't change the view. So it will be a little bit more helpful. So if you want to see where the clash 1 is, you can see it's right over here, and that's the other clashes. So for example, if you would like to just take a look at clash 1 and see what kind of elements are interfering with each other, you can see the best way is to select the elements, and then in the properties palette you can see, okay, this is we just need to see the layers name: branch, circuit, conduit. That's the yellow part. And we can also try to select this one. This is a fire protection. Let's see if we are able to find what this element is. Fire protection branch, and basically this runs across the conduit, and obviously this is a clash, and we need to resolve this. In the field, there might be different ways you can do. You can probably move this or move this conduit. In the field, sometimes they will assign certain priority to certain trades. For example, for the structure-wise, they always are given the first priority. They basically don't really move. For some other trades, maybe electrical, they get to move their stuff a lot whenever there's a clash. So in the field, they have certain hierarchy in terms which trade should move first. Alright, so in certain cases, it might be very difficult to select the elements of the clash you need. I know some of you guys may get really frustrated. The tip for that is just go to your selection tree first, and for example, we've got a lot of architectural elements, and sometimes they can include other elements. What we can do is we can hide them. So in that case, you can directly select the elements you want. So that's a quick way of selecting the clash elements. Now let's take a look at clash 2. And sometimes because whenever you have one object that is clashing with the other object, it will be flagged as one clash. That's why we get so many different clashes, but not necessarily a lot of we do really have to resolve one by one. In some cases, if you resolve one clash, probably move one element by a couple of inches, it will resolve all the clashes along that line. I think Navisworks is really good at catching all the clashes, but it cannot really help you group those clashes. So now let's take a look at our clash tool. So for example, if I want to use the auto update again, and I click clash 1 and clash 2. So this is our clash 2. I try to find one example that we see one element clash with a lot of other elements. So in that case, we can group them together. Let me pause the video a little bit and try to find one example, then we will get back. Now let's take a look at this example. It looks like this element. Let's take a look at what this is. Is the access space. In model development, sometimes if there's some space that need to be accessed later on, some trade would just model as kind of like a box around it. So that means this space is needed. It looks like this access space has some clashes with some elements. So for example, it looks like this is clashing with a lot of other file protection. Let's see, file protection branches. Let's assume this is a real clash, because at this point I don't know what the access space is really used for. So probably this might not be a problem, but let's pretend it is a real problem. We try to, because we can see there are a lot of clashes, and they actually should be just treated as one. For example, if we just move this access space up a little bit, maybe all other clashes can be resolved. So in order to really group the clash, what we can do is we can use the function filter selection. This is a really useful tool. So for example, if we say this one, show clashes where at least one clashing item is selected. Let's see how many clashes might be interfere with the elements. It looks like those clashes, they are all colliding with the access space. What we can do is we can just set a new group. What we can do is we can basically select all of them, and I think this should be the right way. I think I did this wrong. I need to delete this. Delete this group. So now for example, if you want to change a name to the group, let's say name something, right? So in that case, they can be grouped. If one is resolved, a lot of clashes can be resolved. And for example, if you already reviewed this, you can say I've already finished review this, and there will be a different color coded in this kind of those clashes. And you can also add some, assign certain people to address this issue. For example, if you would like to assign this work to Tom, in that case, you can assign. And then later on, if this problem is already resolved, you can say this is already resolved. So different ones different status can be updated. So you can do similar stuff and try to group them and find ways, what can be the best solution. Those solutions could be adjust in the field, or certain solutions can be done through redesign, etc. I think those are just the basics for you guys to run class detection in Navisworks. I believe with this knowledge, you should be able to do your Sprint 3.